This is the final English Trial Assessment Review for Grade 9 at the International School of Innovation. Get ready for hints and clues that will help you with your exam. The topics covered are not limited to reading comprehension, with the objectives as noted. And writing, the objectives are as noted as well. An iceberg or ice mountain is a large piece of ice that has broken off a glacier and is floating freely and beautifully in open water. Those lovely ice sculptures that are given to you by nature are just surprising. Seeing the impressive icebergs out there is so enjoyable. Icebergs are among nature's most spectacular formations, and yet most people have never seen one. A vague air of mystery envelopes them. They exist somewhere in far-away frigid water, in the middle of thunderous noise and splashing turbulence, which, in most cases, no one hears or sees. Icebergs are more than mountains of ice. They are a unique work of nature whose magnificence and majesty cannot be adequately captured on film. They must be experienced for real. No two icebergs are alike, and when you see an iceberg for the first time, you may be seeing shapes, colors, and sizes that no one has seen before. They look like mountains, but they are not. They have been called the objects of sheerest beauty, appearing in an endless variety of dazzlingly white shapes. They may be glassy blue, green, or purple, tinted faintly or in darker hues. They are graceful and inspiring in calm sunlit seas, but they are also called frightening and dangerous, and described as scary in the night, in the fog, and in storms. Even in clear weather, one is wise to stay a safe distance away from them. Most of their bulk is below the water, and their underwater parts may extend out far beyond the visible top. Yet they may roll over unexpectedly, churning the water around them. They are parts of glaciers that break off, drift into the water, float about for a while, and finally melt. Icebergs that float today were originally formed in a slow transformation into ice from snowflakes that have fallen over long periods of time before modern history. They embody snow that drifted down hundreds or many thousands, or in some cases maybe 1 million years ago. The snow fell in polar regions and on cold mountains, where it melted only a little, or not at all, and then collected to great depths over the years and centuries. As each year snow accumulated on the surface, evaporation and melting caused the snowflakes slowly to lose their feathery points and become tiny grains of ice. When new snow fell on top of the old, it too turned to icy grains. So blankets of snow and ice grains mounted layer upon layer, and were of such great thickness that the weight of the upper layers compressed the lower ones. With time and pressure from above, the many small ice grains joined and changed to larger crystals, and eventually the deeper crystals merged into a solid mass of ice. As you saw the text, the first thing you should have noticed is what? The first thing you would notice is that the text had no title, so you can expect to find a title question. Next, you should have noticed the type of text, okay? And that will help you in answering the questions that you will be provided. Okay, let's try number 1. According to paragraph 2, why are icebergs rarely seen? Here, of course, you go back to paragraph 2 and read it in order to find this answer. Icebergs are rarely seen because they are located in remote regions of the world. Number 2. Why does the writer believe icebergs can be dangerous? Now here you must take the point of view of the writer and through what you have read, figure out why he believes icebergs can be dangerous. You can skim the text to find where this answer may be, and you will find the writer believes icebergs are dangerous because they can turn over suddenly. Okay, number 3. According to paragraph 7, what processes change snowflakes into grains of ice? Here we have a little bit of a science question, however, it's explained in the text, so you should be able to comprehend and repeat what is written in your own words about the processes that change snowflakes into grains of ice. The processes are evaporation and melting. Now, based on paragraph 1, how can you best describe the writer's attitude towards icebergs? Now, this question would be easier to answer if you go back and revise the attitude or tone worksheets that you have as a reference for this question. You need to know attitude and tone words in order to answer these types of questions. Okay, now reading the text, you can also figure out what the writer feels, and that's his attitude or her attitude. Now let's think why we must answer this type of question is because we need to know what the writer thinks as he writes, and what he thinks is portrayed through the words written. The words written in the paragraphs can help you believe that the writer's attitude is of wonder and admiration, and he describes icebergs using words such as floating freely and beautifully, impressive, surprising, lovely ice sculptures, and seeing them is enjoyable. So this would indeed help us figure that the writer's attitude is of wonder and admiration. Okay? Now, which of the following is the best title for the selection? The melting of icebergs, the nature and origin of icebergs, the sizes of icebergs, or the dangers of icebergs? Now here I would definitely not choose the melting of icebergs, since the whole text is not talking about how they melt. The dangers of icebergs are mentioned only in one paragraph, and the sizes of icebergs are not focused on as much as the nature and origin of icebergs. So that's how you can use the process of elimination to figure out this type of question. Now, the reading selection has 7 paragraphs. Each of the following extracts A and B is the correct part that completes one paragraph in the selection. You should read extracts A and B carefully and then choose from paragraphs 1 to 7 the one that correctly fits with each extract. So, these 2 extracts end one of the paragraphs. Let's try and figure them out. First, let's read. They are counterparts of our mountains and land, and like them, they have their own mysterious and serene beauty. But unlike our mountains, icebergs can shift and move, change shape, and even disappear. Now, I think that this best goes with paragraph 3. Do you agree? Okay. This continues the description of the beauty of the iceberg, so it's best in paragraph 3. Best fit in paragraph 3. Okay, now extract B. Most people would say that icebergs are white, and most of them are. An iceberg looks white because compressed snow on its surface contains large numbers of tiny air bubbles and crystal edges that equally reflect all wavelengths of visible light. This goes best with paragraph 4. Okay? Alright.
Okay, here we must read the following sentences and find in the indicated paragraphs one word that can best replace the underlined words or phrases. Here you have to use context clues in both the sentence given and look for context clues that help find a word that would similarly fit inside a sentence like this that's in each paragraph indicated. Okay, number 1 is from paragraph 1. The president described the minister as an admirable gentleman with great knowledge and experience in the affairs of his own country. Okay, number 1. If I go back to the paragraph, I can look around and find that the word impressive best replaces the word admirable. It fits in this sentence, and admirable can also take the place of the word impressive in the first paragraph. Now, number 2. She believes that there is nothing more frightening than being alone in a closed room underground. Frightening. If we go back to paragraph 5, we can find a word that's very similar to frightening, and that word is scary. Scary can replace frightening, as well as frightening can replace scary in the paragraph 5. The next, number 3, the main part of our water supply comes from the ocean, and we must have the salt removed in order to be fit to drink. The main part can also be the bulk of our water supply. Bulk can be replaced with main part, as well as main part is replaced by bulk in paragraph 5. Okay, number 4. Because he needed to take a lot of clothes with him for the trip, he had pressed his clothes in his small handbag before getting on the plane. Paragraph 7. So we can use a word similar to pressed, and it has the word pressed inside it, and it's compressed from paragraph 7. Alright, so any other context clues? Help you find the meaning of words. And of course you can revise your worksheets given to you earlier in the year about context clues and the types of context clues. You can also revise previous videos and ask me for any questions you might have. In each of the following sentences, there is one grammatical error. Identify the error and then correct it. Let's see. They come to school often in a uniform. Now here is the placement of the modifier, often. Okay? Remember we had talked about modifiers and their placement should come after the subject and before the verb. So, like that. Okay? So we say, 1. Come to school often should be often come to school. The type of question here is modifier. Number 2. I haven't seen him since he had graduated from school. Now here, I haven't seen him since he had graduated from school should be from had graduated to graduated. This is a tenses question. And the reason we would remove the word had is since we're not talking about two events that happened in the past where one happens before the other. Okay? Number 3. The murderer hasn't caught by the police yet. Here, hasn't caught is a mistake. And we transform it to hasn't been caught. Now the rule says that in order to use the past participle of a verb, you must have or has plus been plus the past participle of the verb. So this is missing that part, so we must correct it to become hasn't been caught. Number 4. The principal cause of his health problems were his refusal to take the medicine. The principal cause of his health problems was his refusal. This is a subject-verb agreement question, and you must change were to was, since we have cause is singular. So the verb must agree. And therefore we use the verb was. Alright, great. Now, all these rules and other rules for grammar, tenses, passive active, conditionals, models, modifiers, and direct and indirect speech lessons can be viewed on your previous worksheets and previous videos. Revise them, you know them well. Any questions you can always ask. Okay, rewrite the following sentences starting as indicated without changing the meaning. Let's do the first one. The teacher won't give us the test papers if we do not keep quiet. Here we know this is a conditional. So let's start with unless, as we did in our previous homeworks in the past couple weeks. Unless we keep quiet, comma, the teacher won't give us the test papers. Okay? Now, here I want you to note that you have the conditional part. If we do not keep quiet, we get this result. So here is the result clause. And here's the condition clause. Now, since we don't have if in the beginning, we don't have a comma here. Make sure you remember that. So it says, unless we keep quiet. Here we negated. It was in the negative. The negative part goes to the word unless. Okay? So unless we keep quiet, the teacher will not give us the test papers. So this means if we don't keep quiet, the teacher will not give us the test papers. We kept the same meaning and we started as indicated. All right. Number 2. There are many natural resources, but the government is not willing to use them. Now it's telling us to start with although. So we are doing correlative conjunction type exercise. Although there are many natural resources the government is not willing to use them. Okay? So instead of using the correlative conjunction but, we use although, and we wrote the same type of sentence in a different way, the same meaning. There are many natural resources, but the government is not willing to use them. Although there are many natural resources, the government is not willing to use them. It's as simple as that. Now, so, please revise all grammar lessons. Handouts, notes, worksheets, and homework pages. Okay? Now, for the writing, this is a sample writing from the official exam practice website, and there are two prompts. The first one requires you to make an outline on your own with your Roman numbers that you know how to do very well, and the second one requires you to draw and fill out the graphic organizer as given. In your official exam, you will also be given two prompts as these. One will be for an outline and the other will have a graphic organizer. You have to choose the one where you will do better in. Okay, so let's read. It says, read the following statement for prompt 1, prompt A, from a reflective essay about the beauty of nature. We all want to protect the beauty of our planet, although we're mostly too busy or too lazy to take care of the beauty of nature. We still can make some effort to protect and enjoy its beauty. It's asking you to make an outline and then write an essay in which you explain the above statement. As you develop your essay, refer to different aspects of the natural beauty of our environment, what we can do to protect its beauty, and in what ways we can enjoy it. Okay? Now, you must provide a thesis statement, a topic sentence, and support the main idea with specific, relevant, and adequate details. Give examples drawn from your reading experience and observation. This type of essay is going to be a descriptive expository essay. Okay? So if you feel you're good at this type of essay, you would choose prompt A. But of course, please read prompt B before choosing. Read the following statement about traveling and enjoying the pleasure of seeing natural wonders. Traveling to faraway places can be inspiring. It takes you from imagination to reality, and from thinking of how things may look like to seeing them as they are. Based on the statement above, write a narrative essay about a trip you once had with friends or family to see a place you knew about its natural beauty. As you develop your essay, describe how you planned for the trip, what you did during the trip, how you were inspired by the beauty of the place, who was involved, and what lesson you learned. Copy and fill in the chart. Now, this type of an essay is a narrative essay, and if you're good at telling stories, you should definitely choose this type of an essay. So the choice is yours. You now know how to outline, you know how to fill out a graphic organizer, and you know how to write, making sure to have a thesis statement with an organized type of sequence in your essay. Okay?
Now, you're always evaluated on ideas and organization, your language and style, your outline and title, and don't forget that your tidiness and handwriting now even has a score. Okay? So, you will do great. Choose the prompt that you can write mostly about, that it's easier for you to develop. Which is easier? Always ask yourself this question. Which is easier for me to develop? Great jobs so far. This year you've done such a great job in continuously growing your knowledge and developing as students. I have no doubts about how successful you will be in your exam. Study hard and keep up your amazing efforts. Good luck.